Welcome to our next lesson on media and information literacy. This time we're going to focus on media and information languages, the genre, the codes, and the conventions. But before that, I prepared a bit of exercise for you guys. Okay, let's try it. All right. So, before we proceed with the lesson itself or the lesson proper, let me just give you an example of or an introduction to media and information languages through this exercise. Okay. So you see there a symbol and then the meaning or purpose. So I'll show some pictures. Okay, so this one is in Cebu. Okay, when you see this picture, what comes into your mind? Okay, so you think about it. How about this picture? Wow, this one is in Palawan. Alright, it feels like you want to go to Palawan, right? How about this one? Okay, so again, this one it's another tourist spots in Palawan, tourist spot in Palawan. So whenever you see this kind of picture, the message that it conveys to you, it's like it's trying to lure you to go to that place, and we feel like we want to click that button to reserve a book or to reserve a book and flight to wherever that place is in the Philippines. So that is actually one of the purposes or one of the meanings when we see this picture. Taran! So this one is in Manila. Okay, so if you see that, oh, that's very wonderful. We know that Manila is known for a lot of negative news, or when we hear of Manila, we think of negative things. But when we see this picture, it's quite different from what we hear. So it feels like we want to go there and spend our not or spend a day or even your weekend with someone in that place. So that's in Manila. That's near the grandstand. Okay. So these pictures are all up on the net to promote the tourist spots in the Philippines. So this is again one of the strategies of our government, in particular the Department of Tourism. In short, they want to promote the Philippines all over the world. That this is the Philippines. It's not what you hear. Okay. These pictures add flavor to the theme. It's more fun in the Philippines. So again, if you were a foreigner looking for a place to spend your vacation with, you think of this place, especially if you are um, a nature lover. So you have their Palawan. If you love the colors of the city or the city lights, then you go to Manila. Okay. And also, since through these pictures we attract more tourists, especially the foreigners, more tourists means jobs and income to the Filipinos. So this creates a lot of jobs, especially if you own a particular place or an island, then you tend to hire more Filipinos to take care of your place and also to entertain the tourist. If you are in Manila and you own a horse, then you prepare it like um, what you could do is you could prepare that horse of yours as a carriage, and then you roam around you roam around the city. So this one is I got from from news. Okay, so this is another way of conveying message to the people. Okay, so if you see this, there's this Baseco sa Tondo, pinaka-apekto sa droga sa Manila. So if you hear that if you hear that news, what comes to your mind? Of course, oh, I don't want to go to that place because again, this is a drug affected area. My life might be threatened in that place. I might be put in danger, something like that. Okay, so that is the place that we don't want to visit when we go to Manila. Okay, in particular, Tondo. So when we hear Tondo, what do we think of? Oh, let's be honest. We think of what? We think that people are so messy there. We think of the place is very dangerous. We think of a lot of snatchers and blood, yada yada yada. So we think of a lot of negative things. Why? Because again, the message that is being conveyed to us. Okay, so there. Okay, so don't trust anyone in that place. So this is something that the impact of that symbol. Okay. Next, how about this one? So the before and after, actually, this is a good symbol. So before, I am not sure though if you guys have been to Divisoria before. Yorme took the seat for being the mayor of Manila, but during the time or during the administration of Era Estrada, it was really in chaos. There were a lot of negative things happening in Divisoria, and during December, it was really nice to go there, but thinking of traffic, thinking of the crowd. Okay, imagine when you go there, it feels like um, eternity before you get out of that place. So it's really quite different now. If you see the after picture, and then when you see that your miss already there, you know that there was this change, okay, that happened. And that's also another symbol that we could look up to, or we could look at rather. The meaning of that would be, oh, it's nice now to go to Divisoria because of again, the traffic is now very manageable, and it's no longer tiring when you go there. So it's really, you really have, you're gonna have fun when you go to Divisoria, especially when you hear Divisoria, you think of, wow, cheap items, and then you still get the same quality of item that you see in some malls. Okay. So there. So it's more fun to shop. Okay. And also, I have this another symbol, but this one we're gonna watch. This is one of the advertisements that really has a great impact. Okay, so even if we do not really drink milk, but because of hearing the song, it lingers to our head. And then when we go to supermarket, like me, I'm a mommy, and when I go to supermarket and I see this, I remember the song Pag 3 Pataas. So it's quite easier because if I have a child who's 3, I'll get this milk. Okay, that is actually one of the strategies in advertisement. So if you want to get a lot of people to buy your product, then what you do is you can use the song. Okay, if the song lingers in your head, the last song, it's like the LSS, the last song syndrome. Okay, it's easier to memorize. It lingers to your head. It's so cute when you watched it, and then when you go to the supermarket, you buy the Bonakid. Okay, so there. So pag 3 pataas, you think that it's just a song 3 pataas, but there's really something going on with that song, and that's one of the symbols also that is being used in, again, that's a strategy of the ad companies. There is actually another video.
Kanino ka pumapawar? Ako? Para sa one and only ko.
Actually, another symbols that can be used is another strategy is the use of a very popular celebrity and their own story. Okay, so we know that in this advertisement that the real story of Daniel Padilla and his mom. Okay, and his mom, we is being featured in the advertisement. We Filipinos, and I guess not only the Filipinos, but all around the world, when you buy something, your emotions affect the pattern of your buying. Like for example, um, this is what I usually say when I was single. Like when it comes to my salary, okay, um, I'd other like this. Okay, i-reward ko naman yung sarili ko ngayon, kakain ako ng gusto ko. So that's what I usually say. And the thing is, my emotion is being affected, or my emotion affects the way I buy things. So same thing with the commercials. We are being affected. Actually, they use a lot of symbols here. Here, this another symbol that they use here is the way when they talk. Wait, let's continue to watch it.
Si Mama. Mapait ang buhay.
Okay, so you see there, they were like talking, and then the family talking about life, okay, about their while drinking coffee. So that's actually a good symbol. The story, they use the story in uh, as a symbol. Okay, so the purpose here is whenever you talk to your family or friends, you drink coffee. Don't you notice that? Like it's really good to drink coffee while talking to someone, right? Especially if you go to like a coffee shop. Okay, I didn't get a lot of commercials, but if you check on YouTube, you'll see a lot of commercials like that they went to, like for example, McDonald's. Okay, they even have this called story. McDonald's, Jollibee. Okay, they have this story like the crush for Jollibee. Okay, and then the story of, I remember when I was younger, the story of um, Lolo talking to his granddaughter, like he thought he was someone else, but he said, no, Lolo, si Gina po ito. Something like that, okay? So, because we are, again, the symbols that, these symbols are used to convey a very special meaning or a very special message to us stakeholders, okay? So again, this is one of the strategies of the ad companies to promote the products, and then we buy the product, okay, and then so on and so forth. So there. So what is language? So with that example that I showed you, with that exercise that I showed you earlier, this will now give you an idea of what is this all about, the media and information technology or languages. All right, so when we say language, of course, language, we use it or it pertains to technical and symbolic ingredients, okay, so or codes and conventions that media and information professionals may select and use in an effort to communicate ideas, information, and knowledge. uh, if you, since you guys are ICT, you have your own language that you use. Say for example, the Java, when you use Java, I'm actually not familiar with that, but Java has its own language. That's the code that you're using in order to communicate. Okay, same thing with when we communicate. Okay, in your COM 02-1, when we use language. Okay? So language can be we use it um, verbally. Okay, so when we talk. Okay, when we write. Okay, so it very evident of the language. Okay. Now, for media languages, we use the codes, the conventions, the formats, just like I showed you earlier, the symbols, narrative structures. So these things, what I mentioned earlier, the song, the story, okay, um, the way the story is being conveyed, that's media language. That's the that indicates the meaning of media messages to an audience. So again, the message, okay, how it is being decoded depends on the audience, depends on the receiver. So we may not have the same, okay, we may not have the same message that we decode. Okay, this message might be this, but for you it may be different, because again, um, the way you decode the message is being affected by your background, your culture, your society. Okay, so on and so forth. Now, genre. Let's proceed to the genre. So this comes from the French word meaning type or class. So whenever you are asked what type of or what genre of music do you like? Okay, so we are talking about the type of music. Are you into jazz? Are you into R&B? Or you want pop or classic? Okay, it can be recognized by its common set of distinguishing features like the codes and conventions. Okay, later on we'll further discuss this. So what are then the codes and conventions? Okay, so when we say codes, these are the system of signs. And these signs create meaning, just like what I showed you earlier. Okay, the code that one of the codes that it uses, say for example the picture. Okay, look at the picture. um, when if the message they're trying to convey is to promote the Philippines, okay, to the world, saying that you visit the Philippines and then you'll have fun here, you'll have more fun, right? Once you get that meaning, then you check on the codes, they have the same. Okay, what about the code or the system of signs? It shows the beautiful places and then the angle of the picture that they um, that they take. Okay, and then they show it and then they print it and then they post it. So these are some of the codes. Later on, I will show you other examples. Convention are the generally accepted ways of doing something. Okay, so code and conventions are used together in a study of genre. So it is not enough to discuss a technical code. So later I'll discuss this, use such as camera work, without saying how it is conventionally used in a genre. So whenever we, say for example, whenever we take pictures and we want to convey a message, but we do not want that message to be written. Okay, so it's like decoding the code. Okay, so if you want to focus on something, say for example, there's actually a lot in movies. Okay, in movies wherein they they focus on the camera focuses on the protagonist and then blurs out the antagonist. Okay, so meaning that scene is basically for the protagonist and showing that this protagonist will do something, okay, or planning something to fight against that protagonist, to fight against that antagonist. So, if you see the blurry part of some movies, okay, or even the pictures, that's also that's a code actually, okay? And it creates a different. Okay, so there are different types of code. We have the technical, symbolic, and written. So let's start with the technical code. So with the technical code, there are ways in which equipment. So there's a use of equipment to tell the story. So this equipment could be the camera techniques, okay, the framing, just like I mentioned earlier for the camera techniques, the angle, okay. Then you have the framing. So the framing there is, do you put the symbol or the code in the middle, okay, in the middle, or you put somewhere on the side, depth of fields, lightning, etc. This is where the blurry comes in. So when you take pictures and then you want to, again, say for example, it's a group picture and you want to just focus or highlight on one person, what you do is you focus the camera there and then you blur the other sides. So it could be that the message is that you want to greet that person or you want to highlight that that person is celebrating something today. Okay? Like for example, when you post a picture on Facebook and then you do not want to reveal the name, but you just say happy birthday, and then the picture shows that that the person is very clear, and then the rest of the gang is very blurred. So that is one of the technical codes. Okay. So another example would be for the use of camera as an equipment. So these are some of the examples of shot angles. Okay? This is what you usually see when you watch movies. Okay? For the professional, advertisement or commercial, even the ads that is being or the ads being posted along the street or even on magazine. So there, these are the different shots, okay, shot angles. And again, it conveys a lot of meanings, alright? So it depends on what kind of scene um, you want for the bird's eye. Actually, it's like um, I usually see this in some series or some movies wherein the purpose of the bird's eye is to focus on the protagonist and the situation. So this one is for the camera for the photography. This is for photography. These are some of the angles. Right. So for the extreme close up, if the message you want to convey is like you want to focus on the it could be because the eye is the window of the soul. Okay? So there's something in her that you want to show, but through the use of eyes. If it's the face, it's like this the facial expression. Alright, so these are some of the camera movements, okay, that you could also use to give different again to provide different codes. Okay, next would be the symbolic codes. Okay, show what is beneath the surface of what we see. So this one, this is actually, if you are taking yung O1, this is part of it, the symbolic codes. Okay, you look beyond what you see. Okay, meanings. Okay, that's symbolic code, the meanings. So symbolism is an underlying and often distinct theme that pervades a work of writing. So this actually for yung O1 literature, when you watch movies, um, there are actually a lot of symbols that you'll see, especially in thriller, um, comedy. Yes. There's this actually one that I remember when I watched the Les Miserables. One of the symbols there, excuse me, one of the symbols is the hair. Okay. When one of the protagonists or the mother of the protagonist sold her hair for money. Okay. I'm not sure if you watched that. But this one's an example, the Spider-Man trilogy. Okay, so the symbol there for the adolescents and then unprepared adulthood. Remember the first uniform that he prepared? Okay, it wasn't like this. Do you remember that in the movie? And then it's like there was this development there was a development in the uniform of Spider-Man. Okay, same goes with so that was also the symbol of him undergoing his own development. Okay, another symbols. Okay, symbolism in a film can be so subtle that the audience may be unaware of its existence. Okay. So unless you are really fond of, okay, you'll be really aware of a lot of symbols that you're watching. But if not, then not you just gonna enjoy the movie. I actually I watch a lot of movies and then try to look for the symbols. And then I find a lot. Okay. Um, anyway, the impact depends on its cultural context. So and again, we may have different um, way of decoding the messages. All right, because of the background, we have different backgrounds, so it depends if we do have the same message, um, that we get from the symbols. Okay,